Hi everyone, NPC and IFBB Pro League Vice President Tyler Manion here. Today we're going to do the wellness criteria video. So to start off this video, I think it is much easier to go over things that we do not want to see in wellness. In wellness, we don't want to see too much muscle. I think a lot of competitors are gaining too much muscle lately. If you go look at Francielli and if you go look at Isa, okay, yes, they are smaller girls, but you can get an idea. If you are bigger than them, you are getting too big, plain and simple. Wellness is the only division where we're not looking for symmetry between the upper and the lower body. The upper body should be smaller than the lower body. There needs to be more thickness in the legs and in the glutes, and it should not match the upper body. Many competitors are gaining muscle and putting on a lot of muscle in their upper body. Their shoulders are becoming big, hard, and round and striated. Their arms themselves, talking about the biceps and the triceps, are becoming thick, really thick with muscle. We're seeing more of a boxy look. Okay, we're still looking for an hourglass shape in wellness in the upper body. So that's the same kind of shape we're looking for in bikini in the upper body. The wellness upper body is only supposed to be a little bit bigger than bikini. That's it. You do not need to be heavily and densely muscled in the upper body. Now in the lower body, just adding size to your legs is not the way to go. You still have to sculpt your body in wellness to a wellness physique. So look at Francielli's legs. Look at how they look from the front. Look at how they look from the side. Look at how they look from the back. The same with Isa. She has a little bit more density to her quads. That is okay in wellness. But still, overall, the size and even the density and the hardness is not on par with what we're seeing at a lot of pro shows today. There's a reason they are the top two in the world. We want the size to be similar to what they are. Now, if you're a little bit taller, of course, your legs might look a little bit bigger in pictures because you have more room to fill out. And that's okay. So we're looking at the physiques based on your height and based on your own body. So the proportions need to match your body. However, being too hard and being too dense, no matter how tall you are, is going to be marked down. The conditioning, Francielli is on the edge at the Olympia last year. She's on the edge of what we want to see conditioning-wise. No harder than that. We don't want to see striations. We're not trying to see striated quads. We're not trying to see striated glutes. We're not trying to see hamstrings that are so overly developed that they look like woman's physique hamstrings when you turn around. You need to have some density to the quads. You need to have some density so when you do your side pose, there's some thickness to the side leg. And you also need to have some density to the hamstrings as well. That completes the overall look of the leg. So the overall look of your leg should be balanced. It shouldn't be hamstring dominant. It shouldn't be quad dominant. It should be balanced overall. That's what gives you a good side leg too in the side poses. Now the glutes are super important in wellness. For example, our reigning Miss Olympia has the best glutes in the category. So if you want to know what your glutes should look like, just look to her as an example. Francielli and Isa were not the biggest girls at the Olympia last year. They were not the biggest girls in the first call out. They did not have the most muscle in the first call out because wellness, yes, we want to see more muscle than we would see in bikini, but it's not just a muscle competition. So the front pose for wellness. In the front pose, we are still looking for a nice hourglass shape to your upper body down to your glutes. We want to see some development in the shoulders. We want to see a nice tight waist. The lower body, we still want to see some definition and density to your quads. The conditioning, you should not be overly separated and you should not be striated. Now the side poses. In the side poses, again, we're looking at an hourglass shape from your shoulders down to the glutes. We want to see some development in the shoulders, but again, not too much. You need a nice tight waist to really accentuate the hourglass shape. The lower body, we want to see a good amount of development to the legs. So, yes, we want to see the quads, but we also want to see the line that splits the quad and the hamstrings, and you need to have a good amount of hamstrings to balance out the quads. A lot of times, in what we're seeing, girls need to bring down the density and the size of their quads so it can match their hamstrings and the quads don't look overly developed. compared to the hamstrings. We're also looking at the glute fullness from the side here as well. We want to see that you guys have nice full glutes in this side pose. Hitting the side poses are probably the two hardest poses to hit in wellness. Normally, women have one side that's more dominant and looks better than the other. So getting both sides to match is very difficult, and also making sure you're showing off the leg properly while still displaying glute fullness and enough muscle fullness to the legs is important. In the back pose, we are focused on seeing full round glutes with a clear tie-in down to the hamstrings. Now, we see the tie-in. The hamstrings we can see, but again, conditioning-wise, they're not etched in. Just look at Francielli's back pose here. Her hamstrings, we can see the development to her hamstrings, but they are not etched in. We see the glutes with a clear tie-in here. We also see some size to the legs here, and we see more quad sweep, obviously, than we would see in bikini. However, as you see here, we see a decent amount of quad sweep, but we don't see way too much quad sweep or density. Sometimes I see some women that push back the side of their legs or pushing out the side of their legs to really try to throw the quad back and really show off the quad. The back pose is not all about quad sweep here. You should just naturally have it, and it doesn't have to be too big. It doesn't have to be over exaggerated. It should just be there in the back pose while you are doing the pose with the proper foot position and showing off your glutes and your legs with the proper conditioning.